JBNN will keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Jackie won't be released anytime soon. A Netherlands judge on Tuesday ruled that Jackie should continue serving a 6-year sentence for attempted manslaughter in that country. The Regasing was appearing in court for a pro forma hearing. He is scheduled to return on April 18. The judge decided to keep Jackie in detention, and the next pro forma date is set on the 18th of April. Toshka S., press officer at the Public Prosecution Office to the Court of Appeals in the Netherlands, said, "There's no news on this case. In a pro forma hearing, a judge decides whether another person should remain in detention. It occurs every 90 days. In March 2022, Jackie was sentenced to 6 years for stabbing a show promoter over unpaid monies. The singer was acquitted of the more serious charge of attempted murder. He has been incarcerated since October 2021. According to a police report, Jackie, 43, stabbed show promoter Ricardo Papa Blake in his abdomen at Damsker in October 2021. Blake, the principal of Roots Vibes, which stages regular shows in the Netherlands, was reportedly later hospitalized. Following the singer's sentencing, Dutch prosecutors appealed to the court against the acquittal of the attempted murder charge. Throughout the years, Jackie has had several brushes with the law. He was convicted of rape and illegal possession of a firearm in April 1999 and served 8 of a 15-year sentence in prison. He was released in July 2007. Double murder rocks Tucker, St. James. 2 men were cut down in a hail of bullets during an attack by a gunman at a pub in Tucker, St. James, Thursday afternoon. Another person, said to be a teen, was injured in the incident. The dead men have been identified as 29-year-old David Elliott, otherwise called Pogger, and Marlon Melody, 30, both from 13th Street in Tucker. The injured male is a teen. The police reportedly found almost 30 spent shells while processing the murder scene. These included 20 9mm and 8.40 round casings. No motive has been established for the attack. Police said about 2:15 p.m., Elliott and Melody and the teen were patrons at the pub when they were pounced upon by a gunman who opened fire at them. When the shooting subsided, Elliott and Melody were seen suffering from what appeared to be gunshot wounds to their upper bodies, while the teen was seen with gunshot wounds to his left leg. All 3 men were transported by residents to hospital, where Melody and Elliott were pronounced dead, and the teen admitted in serious but stable condition. Suspects being held as security forces heighten operations in Manchester. Police and military teams have been deployed to Manchester to combat a surging crime there, even as sources say multiple suspects have been apprehended in targeted operations by the security forces. Sources say among those arrested are suspects and persons of interest in armed robberies, break-ins, among other crimes. We have a man in custody now from St. Elizabeth who we captured last week Thursday in New Green. We picked up another 5 men today Thursday at the border in Scots Pass in a big operation. We are targeting all parts of the parish in search of all persons of interest and suspects, said a reliable police source. We are ramping up operations across the Manchester division. We have to pull out other stops. Manchester can't continue with crime like this. We have people involved in murders and shootings. We are looking for them, added the source. On Monday, head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Shane McCullough, told journalists that known criminals are being pursued with the help of external forces. 22 rounds of ammunition seized in Luke Lane police operation. The police are reporting the siege of 22 5.56 rounds of ammunition during an operation on Luke Lane, Kingston, early this morning. Reports from the Central Police are that the operation, which targeted wanted men, illegal guns and ammunition, was conducted between 4:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. They said the ammunition was found under a table at a premises. No arrest was made. No cost to be spared in SSL probe. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark is vowing to fund whatever it takes to get to the bottom of the ongoing fraud investigations at Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL, that will involve local and Jamaican experts. Speaking after his presentation at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's 18th Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference, the minister said the decision to engage overseas forensic experts in the probe will come at a high cost. We don't know what those costs are at this point, since we're at the beginning, but whatever it takes, we will deal with it. We just have to move decisively, Clark said. On Monday, the finance minister announced that the FBI and other foreign experts will be engaged to assist with investigations into allegations of a $3 billion seepage of funds at the investment company, more than half of which, the equivalent of $12.7 million US, belonged to sport icon Usain Bolt. Clark described the alleged fraud as a crisis, but one that can be leveraged to create a better investing environment. We must seize the opportunities coming out of this crisis to make Jamaica better and stronger. The first opportunity is to make it known that Jamaica is a serious country where if you defraud investors, you'll be caught, you'll be brought before the law, and you'll be punished, Clark declared. The investigative bodies are determined to unearth all perpetrators, collaborators, and co-conspirators, however small that number may be, and we have to keep open minds that it was perpetrated by a very small number of persons, however large it might be. The investigators will get to the bottom of it, he added. The minister added that if missing funds were utilized to acquire other assets, legal proceedings for forfeiture would be applied. Man who stole his brother's identity charged. A man who allegedly stole his brother's identity to obtain a driver's license was arrested and charged on Monday by police attached to the Revenue Protection Division, RPD, charged with forgery, uttering forged documents, obtaining a forged driver's license, and conspiracy to defraud is Errol Anthony Bago, a 34-year-old fisherman of Frontier, Port Marie and St. Mary. Reports that Bago stole the identity of his brother, Delano Bago, and used that information to obtain a driver's license. The alleged fraud was detected by the police during a spot check when they discovered that the image on a driver's license presented by Delano Bago did not match a photo on the Tax Administration Jamaica's database. The RPD was contacted and its investigations into the incident proved that on July 7, 2022 and August 29, 2022, Errol Bago went to the Port Marie tax office where he applied for and obtained a general driver's license in his brother's name. He was arrested and charged and subsequently offered bail in the sum of $100,000. He is set to appear in the Port Marie Resident Magistrates Court on February 9, 2023. Go to court and pay, Chang tells traffic offenders. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says motorists with outstanding traffic tickets should take their case to a judge. Chang says the government is not minded to push back the window of reprieve being offered to traffic offenders. The new Road Traffic Act, which contains heavier penalties, will take effect next week on February 1. Ahead of the implementation, tickets issued before February 1, 2018 will be rendered null and void, while those issued between February 1, 2018 and January 31, 2023, offenders must pay but will not be subjected to demerit points. Amid calls for an extension, Chang argued that the majority of motorists who are issued with traffic tickets have paid their fines within the prescribed time.
But as drivers in general, there's a kind of focus on. There's a view to say it's much of the indiscipline is from taxi drivers, but they're not the only people who are indisciplined. A new system is introduced to ensure we can hold those who break the law accountable. It is the failure to hold them accountable that results in significant level of indiscipline and disorder on the roadways. It threatens individual lives as well as the general disorder. There's a concern that some people miss the reprieve, but I want to continue to be made aware that the vast majority have in fact paid up, and it's those who have been caught at the end, we expect whatever date you put, there'll be a few missing the date. Those who missed the date must appreciate that really what they're doing, they're going to put in themselves in the mercy of the court system. Our judges are not wearing horns. Most of them, and all of them, are highly trained professionals, and they understand the circumstances, will treat them well. But we have to change the system, and we have to have a closure date. And the closure is the 31st of January. And we look forward to a new system and also a new conduct of all drivers on the roadways. Speeding, bad driving is not confined to those taxi operators. But whoever is breaching the law is putting at risk good lives, and at the same time, I said, disorder is a template for further criminal activity. So we have to ensure there's good order in the public space. That's what they drive to introduce we can. So ensure we have a good ticketing system. Okay?
So if they miss the date, which is the 31st, what you said will happen to them?
They are at the mercy of the courts. Either the court, which is what but bear in mind, they have had these tickets a long time. I think, quite frankly, many people did believe we were going to make change. The attempts have been, this has been talked about for 12 years.
Right.
In fact, the ticketing system was acquired in 2009, which is what? More than 12, 12 years, 13 years. And they kept talking and having amnesty, etc., but nobody took the effort to get the system working. It's a simple system.
Supermarket workers' murder evidence could prove gang's existence if accepted, says Sykes. Chief Justice Brian Sykes on Thursday stated that the evidence given by a former member of the Wandon gang about the 2017 murder of a supermarket employee in Chancery Street, St. Andrew, if accepted as true, demonstrates the existence of a gang. The judge said the evidence, if accepted, can also be used to prove membership of the gang. Two self-confessed former members of the gang had both testified that the alleged leader, Andre Blackman Bryan, had ordered the killing of Damain Dooley Forrester and that he was killed by an alleged gang member. Forrester was reportedly killed on the night of August 17, 2017, because of his alleged affiliation with a faction of the gang allegedly led by Tasha Miller. The first witness, who was Bryan's personal driver and the gang's banker, testified that planning had taken place at his home with Bryan and the other prosecution witness, whose role was to point out the target and to ensure that he was at work. According to him, the man was killed by the gang on the second attempt. The other witness, who also confessed to being a driver and a former community don, said Bryan had given instructions for the man to be killed and that he was killed after 3 attempts. That witness had testified that the man was his friend and that on each occasion he was sent to make sure he was at work at the supermarket and to identify him. The judge was referring specifically to the evidence given by the ex-member, who was the gang's banker, when he made the observation during his continued summation in the Home Circuit Court on Thursday. Bryan and defendants Jazeel Blake, Tamrick Taylor, and Donovan Richards were charged on count 6 of the indictment for facilitating the commission of Dooley's murder. However, the defendants, with the exception of Bryan, were acquitted of the charge during a no-case submission. But Brian Sykes further indicated that although the defendants were freed, they are not yet in the clear, as the evidence pertaining to the murder, if accepted, can be used to show that they were members of a criminal organization. Furthermore, he said that the legislation doesn't require that an individual be involved in any or every commission of a serious offense to be deemed a member of the criminal organization. Pointing to the specific evidence given by the gang's former banker about the alleged planning, the judge said that if the evidence is accepted as credible, that would prove the existence of the gang, as the statute defines a gang as being 3 or more persons who are affiliated in a group or alliance with a common purpose to commit 1 or more serious offenses. The purpose, at least this purpose, was to kill Dooley, and the statute doesn't say you have to have one purpose or a dominant purpose as in other statutes, he noted. So the point is that once you have these 3 men in the house, forming an alliance or having formed an alliance, and one of the purposes of that alliance is to commit 1 or more serious offense, then a criminal organization exists, even if they just sit down in the house and don't go anywhere, he said. The evidence given by the 2 witnesses not only differs in terms of the number of attempts, but as it relates to the alleged gang members who went on each trip. But according to the judge, the fact that you have different persons involved in the 2 first trips doesn't mean that they cannot be found to be members of the same criminal organization if there is evidence that suggests a common root. However, despite the inconsistencies, Justice Sykes said it is clear that there was a purpose to kill Dooley. Turning the spotlight on the 2 witnesses, the judge said that if the court accepts the gang's former banker's evidence, it would show that the other witness downplayed his role, as he did not indicate that he was involved with the planning, and further, that his role was very integral as he was sent to ensure the victim was present and to call the killers on point of the target. At the same time, he said that the evidence, if accepted, would also show that the former banker was guilty of facilitating the commission of a serious offense, as his role was to drive the alleged killers to the scene. Commenting further on the overall evidence by the men, the judge said the evidence suggests that there was proper planning and organization. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.